So if you're listening in from Spaces, we are live on a stream. I'm trying some extra advanced technology, but unfortunately, the AI have not cracked it for me, and not this time. You know what try to use AI for the other day, like how to jumpstart a car. Like, if I need some physical AI in my life because like the biggest blocks I hit is with hardware. Software seems to be a lot easier for me than hardware, but it's a pleasure to have you and to have this first Wednesday show of 2026. I'm planning to do a lot more shows this year, a lot more video content. But it's not just, I don't do this because at the moment no one pays me to do this. I don't do this because I'm forced to do it. No one holds a gun to my head, but I absolutely love this. I absolutely love talking to people and figuring out where the wind is blowing in Web3. So, Galileo Wilson, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Of course, man. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm super excited. I've been doing a little bit more of these like spaces and like streams as well on different shows, and it's a pleasure to be here as well. We connected very recently, and I checked your profile. I think you're a great guy. I think I'm always happy to share my knowledge into what capacity and there's knowledge I have. Um, so yeah, let's get started. I would say, and let's kick it off. I believe the theme of today is AI, right? And how fast will AI?
Yeah, yeah. I want to kind of dedicate more time to AI. I want to, the places that I'm looking at this year right now is I'm looking at AI and I'm looking at real world assets and Bitcoin. And I think AI is just, the joke at the beginning of, in when this bear market started, everyone's pivoting to AI, and like it became sort of a buzzword, a catchphrase, if you will. But I think you don't need to pivot to AI. I think AI is becoming like electricity, like computing, like it's becoming just a part of every project, and it's going to be so embedded. I like to use the term embedded intelligence. Like AI is going to be embedded into the spaces that we occupy, into our heads, perhaps if Elon Musk has his way. So I think 2026 is a year for AI. It's a year for hobbyists in AI. Honestly, like I think if you're in AI today, like you're either there's still a huge demand for like top tier engineers that understand the architecture, the neural networks that can kind of come in and push forward the next LLM, push forward the next model. But that's a very slim layer at the top. And then there's everyone else. And from everyone else, like it doesn't matter if you're a developer or a lawyer or a teacher or a gym instructor, you have conversational tools at your fingertips that can build and create anything for you. So that's kind of the focus, I think, in 2026 is how do we, I'm obviously vibe coding a bit. I'm obviously looking at a few projects. I checked one out today on Say that in the crypto world that are kind of vibe coding adjacent, obviously figuring out how to bring AI into my life and into automate and fix my life. So that's kind of why I want to do the show and all the shows that follow on AI and kind of put a flashlight on that. And yeah, enough about me. I'm curious about you, your journey, like a little quick hello, how's it, how are you? And also kind of where did this meet you, this AI revolution? Like where's it catching you on your journey?
Yeah, no, no. I think you're absolutely super right in everything you just said. I think it would also be helpful to the people watching that don't know me to give a very quick introduction. My name is Galileo. I have co-founded, sorry, a marketing agency called AP Collective. I'm still actually wearing their merch right now, and I love them. But I have exited my part of that around 2 months ago. But that's where a lot of people know me from. I am now working behind the scenes on a lot of different things. I'm creating content. I have my own show. I have joined a company which I will be announcing very very soon, which is pretty
Oh,
sick.
the Kaufman that you mentioned is not public yet. I
It's
feel so for it's
not
semi-public.
semi-public. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm planning something for it. So
Something big,
yeah,
something big. You're gonna shave CT lead into your chest.
something like that. Yeah. But no, I've been in the space operational for I don't know how many years now. I've worked with a lot of big brands, from almost all of the big NFTs to very big protocols, to 20 of the top 100 coins. Pretty big bracket of people that I've worked with. And like indeed, I'm seeing AI also become more and more relevant, mainly in a day-to-day basis, in every single thing companies operate, but also myself, how I operate. I think it allows you to go from basically 0 to 1 very, very quick, but then from 1 to 10 even easier. And let me expand on that. So from 0 to 1, like, you can basically build or make yourself something that's like actually existent very, very quick. Within a week you can have a proper app, a proper product, a proper like whole system, proper like full on strategy that took people weeks or months in advance. Now it will take you a day or a week maximum. And leveraging that together with AI and the speeds of AI, I think is super, is like incredible. And I think everybody that's using that to their advance is going to win. Especially in 2026. I think the best example right now is the recent boom of Claude code, and like Claude and like the vibe coding, what everybody's talking about and doing, right? You can build everything within seconds. And I think that's something beautiful. I think that's gonna evolve only more. And a fun fact about me as well is that I've given a presentation when I was a very young kid, when I was 13 years old, about AI, um, and how it's gonna dominate the world in my high school. And currently, that's playing out. And I did text my teacher last week. I know I still knew her from 10 years ago, and then like it's
So
amazing.
you're kind of you're aging yourself a little bit there because when I was 13 years old, we had 3310s that we played Snake on. No one was thinking about AI, you know. And I'm not so old. I'm only 33 years old. So if you were talking AI in high school, you know you're probably quite a young lad because I remember maybe if you lived on the fringes of the internet, like you read sci-fi, you knew what AI was in 2005 when I was 13, but definitely not a 13-year-old, you know. So it's incredible to see your thesis playing out in real time. If only there was poly market back then when you were in school, you could have taken some bets.
If I had some money back then, and I could have invested in some companies, like I remember Midjourney, like started pretty soon after that, and like some other companies that I was tracking back in the day started. Like if I would have doubled down back then, I don't know what
Yeah,
what would. But yeah, it's always if. I think there's going to be very great opportunities with AI. And indeed, I'm pretty young still. I'm going to turn 20 this year. Um, so I'm really,
you're
yeah, I'm very
turning
young.
20. You're
Yeah.
turning 20. So at what age did you found the AP Collective?
That was on my 16th, together with Abi, and Kicks. I don't know if you remember him, and Master Chief and Dub as well. We did it all together.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really at 16 to be hustling like that. That's like some people just have it. Like some people are just that. They don't want to waste time. Like like I was in school. Like I had one friend who was like agitating to already make his mark, and everyone told him like, no, you have to get back in school, you have to get good grades, you have to study. And I know some people that are in there, older than you, and they're just like in that mode still, like, oh, I have to study, or I have to get another degree, or I have to finish another course, and like you're just saying, fuck it, I'm going for it, and you're just you're just hustling. Guys on the space, I'm going to close and delete the space. This format did not work. I'm going to keep trying it, but as I said to Galileo, not on his time because it's absolutely precious. But yeah, I mean, my AI journey, like I was, in 2012 when I was just out of university. That's when the data science uh, moniker started to become trendy, and I actually worked at eBay. I was working as a data analyst. I have a degree in statistics, so I was always like aiming. I always knew that this was going to be something big, and I was aiming to get there as a developer as an scientist and whatever. But today, like where you and I are, in the creative space, I feel there's a lot more potential there because the ideas are what people can pay for. The ideas and the ability to distribute them. Because you don't have that barrier to entry of having to know how to code Python and having to know how to use RDEs and whatever. You can just vibe code things. You can just make things. You can just do things, and and that's kind of like what I've seen the last couple of years. And actually, you mentioned Mid Journey. I was working at a company in the previous bull run where we had like an AI engine for art generation that was
Oh
similar to
wow.
Mid Journey. So we were neck and neck with Mid Journey, and they try to do it like in an NFT style. They tried to like it was like a gated Discord, and if you had the NFT, you could generate art in the generator. And I remember how like thrilled we were with the trippy like with the trippy art that was coming out of there. And Mid Journey just took off and just and that company unfortunately didn't continue. But that was end of 2021, and even then you could start to see the buzz, you could start to see the potential. And I believe we're getting back then we said as a joke, when we were trying to show this NFT, we said by the end of the decade, AI will produce a full length movie. And
Oh,
we're in 2026, and I think it could happen by the end of the year, never mind the end of the decade. So, however fast you think things are moving, they're moving even faster.
I think it could happen end of the week, bro. Um, um,
I'm working on it. I'm cooking something.
oh yeah, a full on
Yeah.
movie.
No,
What?
no, I'm joking. I was, I am working on the AI like image generation thing, but I think we're so far away from being able to generate a full on movie. I think actually we're not. You just need the time. Like you need the time to sit and prompt each scene one by one and extend it slowly.
Yep, correct. You need like so the thing with image generation right now is like you can do anything very high quality, but you can only do it for like 5 seconds or 10 seconds maximum. With a couple of tools like Google VO and these type of things. I don't know which tools you're currently using, but that's kind of how I see it. I think like anybody could make a full on movie right now, but it just wouldn't look like a proper Hollywood production, right? That's the thing. And like these deep scenes that pull someone into a movie, those cannot be replicated yet. I think what you also said to get back to our conversation at like the start, right? I think like people that so how I envision how AI is going to move like this year, but in the next years is like it's going to move how nobody expected it to move. And what I mean with that is like if you were taking a course to learn code, to learn JavaScript, to learn like all these like different things or like become a developer, right? You like in a couple years back, you would have like been promised $1 million job, millions of dollars you would have made. Like it was during the internet boom, like developers were making insane amounts of money, right? I think now it's the complete opposite. I think genuinely, if I would have had a kid right now, I would encourage my kid to go and become a construction worker over becoming a dev. And why am I saying that? Is because everybody can be a dev now. Everybody. It's not that hard anymore. And I think that's going to progress the same as no one expected it. So I think next up in line are accountants. Then after that, like it's going to be like people that run like maps and books and things that are basically like super automatable. Like everything that involves machines will be able to be automated within the next 2 or 3 years, I think. And then a lot of people are going to get jobless. Um, I don't know if like people already so how it's gonna go is like people will first use AI as a tool and then eventually within a year or two of that happening, which you're currently seeing exactly like development, people will lose their own jobs. Especially the people like on the lower rankings. That's how it's gonna go. And people that have emotional involvement within their jobs, like I would say teachers, I would say like psychiatrics, like those type of jobs cannot be replicated. So I would encourage anyone to start doing that. But I would love to learn your view on that as well. Sorry, I'm a bit sick.
Yeah, I think there's a big question mark of what happens when the singularity arrives. What happens at that moment when AI gets so good that it doesn't need us anymore, and that's a question to people's livelihood, the question to people's sense of worth. A lot of people define themselves by what job they do, and it's like the question of what do you do has a very simple one word answer. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm an accountant, I'm a business developer, whatever, I'm a teacher. But I think, you know, what AI is enabling us, it's enabling us to be everything and nothing. Like we all can, like, if I had to ask you, what do you do? Like, it would be harder for you than the average person to give me a one-word answer. You would need to give me a sentence or a paragraph or maybe an X article to explain what you do, because it's not a, and AI is going to allow more people to get into that class, into that level of I'm everything and I'm nothing. Like I'm just having a good time. I'm just being creative. I'm being innovative. I'm trying to get eyeballs and attention, and because AI has made it easier than ever for anyone to do that, and I think that's where the real, and also initiative taking. Like the AI is going to make people redundant. The kind of people that wait for an instruction and they wait for you to tell them, go and do that, go and build that, go and work like this. And people that take initiative on their own, people like you at the age of 16, you're starting like an ep, one of the top marketing agencies in the space. Like, that AI won't be able to replicate. That's what I found. I found like in today's day, the missing piece is proactiveness. It's hustle. It's people who come and say, I wanna push, I wanna grow, I wanna build, I wanna develop, I wanna see
Okay.
things coming into being.
I agree, and I think as well to like expand to that is like what people should be doing right now. I made a tweet about this like I believe a couple days ago. Is like people's attention span nowadays is so bad. It's the worst and all. It's like all time low of humanity. In this moment, like people that people cannot focus for longer than 15 minutes. I'm genuinely telling you. Like if you pick 10 random people from the street today and you would ask them, hey, focus on this for 15 minutes, but they will have their phone next to them, then there's 100% chance that 9 out of those 10 people will pick up their phone within those 15 minutes to check some notification they've got. Right? So I think that's a huge edge as well. Like put your phone away in another room and like encourage yourself to learn, because also to tie it back to that, like, okay, where can you have an edge in this era in like 2026? um Trust me, like if you are just the capability to learn yourself new things, you you'll be ahead of 99% of the rest of the world. People AI is making people lazy. AI is making people like robots, and not in a way of like putting a chip in your head. I don't think that's gonna happen. It's just like they'll have these glasses that eventually you'll just ask your question out loud, and I'll see in my glasses like, yo, this is what your answer is, right? And then people won't learn anything anymore. So encourage yourself to learn, and as well as like having a proper attention span is the most important skill you could possibly develop like right now, like really understanding your own body and all of those type of things. So I think that's how it's going to go in 2026. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, like discipline is the key here. The possibilities are just sometimes I just get like overwhelmed by just the possibilities. Like you can create anything. You have before AI, there was always like an excuse. You always had an excuse. Like I need to work at my job. I need to make a living. I've got a business. I've got a this. I've got a that. I'm not going to now start to build like X or Y or Z. Like, yes, it's a cool idea, but until I learn how to develop, or I develop and I got to set it up and I got to write all the CSS code, and it's just a pain in the ass. Now there's zero excuses, zero. And actually, just as I was prompting, just as I was, waiting for you, I prompted like I did basically I looked at the all the fundraising that happened in Web3. So I just put out a post about that now, but I look specifically at AI, right, to see the state of funding. And you can see here the AI to 2025, $566 million raised by AI companies. And then what's interesting to see is the big companies that raised. So Sentient, we all know, Sahara Labs, OG Labs, a few names that are familiar to yappers. You can see how much money they raise. You can see who's investing in AI projects, and a few other other ideas about AI projects. Like I think one thing that's interesting about AI is the ability to allow people to have open models, right? Which is essentially training data that is distributed. And people can share their data, can encrypt and share their data, decentralized compute because obviously AI runs against the limitations of geography of physics, of how many servers it has to run computation and to do storage. So all of these things are coming through, and of course autonomous agents. So that's kind of what was hot in 2025 in terms of fundraising. And now my question to you is, what do you think about 2026? What kind of AI stuff are you looking at? Are you interested in? And what is going to pop this year in 2026?
Um, what I'm currently looking at, I think I'm looking at tools that basically have everything at one. I think the first proper like I would say company that has everything. So there's now you have to use like Google VO to do images. You have to ChatGPT for like brainstorming and like creative thinking. You have to use Claude for code. You have to use Cursor for like actually executing your code. You have to like use Mid Journey for a picture, but this for that. And like I think like there needs to be an AI that has everything in once, and that's the best at everything. And I think that's going to be Grok, XI. So what I am currently watching very closely is Elon made the biggest ballsy move ever that he bought Twitter for, I believe it was $20 billion, right? Something like that. Um, Now Twitter is the number one news app. He's training Grok and XAI basically purely on Twitter as an information source. And they are, with a rapid pace, learning faster than any other AI model out there in the world. And I believe that Xai recently, I believe it was like 2 days ago or yesterday even, raised $20 billion, which means basically he's almost even again on his purchase on Twitter. And I think Twitter right now, so X, is worth probably, I don't know, I would say I would value it at, how much would you value Twitter at? $300 billion?
I'm gonna let's guess, and then we're gonna pop it up. Okay, so I would say it's not I don't think it's $1 trillion company.
No.
I don't think it's $100 billion company. I think it's a bit more. So I would say maybe like $250 billion.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm gonna say 300.
Okay, let's see what it is. How much is X? Honestly, I've been seeing a lot of like offers for secondary sales of X shares. Uh, yeah, okay, I
Honestly.
can't like. Let's ask X how much it's valued at. That should know. Grok, how much is X valued at? It's crazy that you can just people have no excuse for ignorance. Like some people, one guy that I worked with like a couple of years ago, I paid him in USDT and he still hasn't like cashed it out, right? So he must have needed the money. So he calls me 3 years later. He's like, bro, how do I get it out of crypto.com? And I'm helping him because he's a friend of mine. I just feel bad for the guy. Like
Yeah.
he's really he's 34 years old. He hasn't found he hasn't married anyone. He's just like stuck in his life. So and I kind of gave him the tips on how to break through. And the whole time I'm just thinking like, bro, it would take you 3 seconds with Grok. Just do that. Uh,
Yeah.
okay, not bad. As of January, the last funding round. gives it a valuation of $230 billion. So
Oh wow.
we weren't so far off.
Okay. Okay. That's really good. Okay, nice, interesting. But yeah, to go back to your question, apart from that, what I'm watching is just mainly where do like the smart people go. I think AI as well is like a bubble. That has to pop. Like you like you the perfect example right now is like the projects you just listed, right? Like of the people that were able to raise so much money. Um are all pure, I would say. I mean, I need to watch my words, but like 9 out of 10 of those are gonna run away with that money, and they will never ever deliver anything of worth of value. um so I think that's something I'm watching as well. Like I'm not trying to put my eggs in like with the basket here. Like I'm making very curated bets, to be very honest. Because like I think, for example, an OG Labs is super cool, but what exactly are they doing? You don't know, right? I think another great example I actually worked with these guys is Open Ledger. I think they well, I should really watch my words, but like certain projects are incredibly overvalued and are able to raise money on certain valuations that they shouldn't, just because um there's AI in their name and they're promising something crazy. But like that's the same as all the gaming projects from 2021, right? 2022.
Yeah.
So so I think that's something I'm basically being cautious with. Like I'm not watching it, but I would say being cautious. Like, are these valuations actually making sense? Like how are these companies operating? What's their burn rate? What's their like what are they currently doing? Um so yeah, that's also something I'm very focused on as well. Like there's like also investing, because of course you want to invest in the next open AI, right? Like imagine you're investing in open AI. You would have been rich now. So that's what I'm currently watching.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I haven't looked into OG Labs too closely. I'm just familiar with the name from from following the market. I think Sentient was interesting for me that they the biggest AR company to raise crypto. For me, I tried their AI out and it was just, underwhelming in terms of correctness, in terms of what it could do v Grok or v Cloud. You know what I mean? And I agree with you with Grok on some areas. Cloud, in terms of code, is the goat, right? I'm still looking for good research AI. I've looked at almost every AI or every LLM in the book, and I've asked it to give me like a Saturday night breakdown of the last 7 days in crypto, right? So what would you expect there? You'd expect some numbers about open interest, about how the market's performing, about inflows, outflows, all of that stuff. You'd expect it to be able to. You'd expect it to be able to. You'd expect it to be able to have some intelligence about what's happening, in the culture in the trenches, who like the drama or the news or highlights or trends or memes or whatever. And I haven't found not Grok, not Chat. No one can do that perfectly. So, that's kind of what I'm looking for in AI. And a lot of these, a lot of the AIs just don't deliver that. One thing I did start checking out today, that looks pretty interesting. Is this the Code Zero DApp? And I've seen these kind of DApps before, like vibe coding DApps in crypto. But this is basically, I wanted to create a Dino game. So you kind of like just, it's obviously not ready yet, but it's just a Dino game. I've got some ideas for how to build this out because I've already built a Dino game. But that's kind of like what I built in one shotted, the prompt. So like my idea for a dino game is to create, like the dinosaur has to jump over the boxes to stay alive. But if it jumps up and catches a fruit in the sky, then it has to answer a quiz question, and based on that quiz question, it decides whether or not it gets a point. And then you create like a trivia game with some arcade element. I actually built it already, but now this is like I'm going to vibe code it into a depth with this code zero. So that looks pretty cool. But yeah, I think it's just about finding tools that can help you, that can help you in your life. creating a workflow, creating an automation that can get it out and then pushing it out and giving it to other people. But I'm very curious. We have a few more minutes left, and thank you to everyone for joining, for watching. It's been a great show, and thank you to Galileo for the time. Next time, hopefully, I'll get you on a space or a panel with a lot more people, and I want to talk more marketing, more about your journey, and this is what I want to end off with as a kind of teaser to the next time we chat. And that's kind of like, whoa, like I'm still shocked from earlier. Like starting, like I started a marketing agency at the beginning of last year, and I realized how hard it is to win trust at the beginning. You know, you can find clients. That's not the problem. It's about finding having the clients find you, and B, working with companies that are going to be in the space 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the time in crypto, most of the companies are very short term. They try a campaign, it works, it doesn't work, they stop raising money, they go under, they disappear. I'm sure you know that better than me. So, how did you kind of crack those two codes? Number one, like getting clients to come to you, and number two, finding the clients that kind of have the staying power and have the potential to become, a life-changing upside as for being involved in their projects.
So to answer your first question, how we tackle that was basically how you like kind of approach it is you need to leverage your success to the maximum that you possibly can. So if you're starting out a marketing agency, there's surely something you've already marketed and you need to shout it to every single person you know, and you need to like make everybody aware of the fact that you're actually doing that. I think that that's something how we crack the code. So like it's really building out your personal brand and like always repeating like, yo, hey, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best, and like we've done this, and like sending out making case studies and having a very good website and like going to all these events and like hosting your own event and showing and telling people like, yo, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're working with this name, right? And then eventually you'll like become the person that become the company that like people think about whenever the word marketing agency pops up. Like whenever the word marketing agency popped up, our company popped up at that moment, right? And it kind of still does. Um, so I think that's the way how we cracked it. It wasn't like a one time thing. It just like it's an exponential growth. We always had foot on the ground on every single event. We were like a lot of influential people vouching for us publicly. So that's one how we really tackled it. And what was your second question?
My se- my second question was about finding, not just getting the clients to come to you, but also finding the right people to work with. Like, what are kind of some of the I'll ask it in a different way. Like, what are kind of some of your hard no's in terms of who you work with, in terms of, because I'm sure you turn down more clients than you accepted.
Yep. No, I think that's probably the part that was the hardest part ever working in the marketing scene, because we have such a big superpower of like, okay, we can hype something up and it will sell out basically if you're also vaporware. And we really like I really value my ethics, and I'm really a guy that like only wants to work with the best and like real people, right? Like I'm gonna make someone millions of dollars. I don't want to make a bad guy millions of dollars and extract that from the good people, right? So how I usually go about that is I jump on multiple calls with these people, and I mainly follow my gut. And my gut, first of all, like if you don't have your camera on in our first meeting, I'm not gonna work with you. Um, Secondly, I wanna like I'll ask a lot of very hard questions, as in like, okay, what are you gonna do with the money you're gonna make? What's like the plan here? And then like I have like this list which I don't want to reveal to anyone, but like I have this list of questions that I ask people, which help me in also closing the sale because it really shows interest. Um, but like I ask all these type of questions that like, okay, if I have also my preferred answers, and if they all check the box, then I go for it. For very like big brands like a Pudgy, like I don't do that. But just for out starting out companies that want to work with me, like okay, I go do this. I kind of interview the person, and then you have to pay this amount to me. If you don't want to pay it, we're not going to work together. If you want to pay it, we're going to work together, right? But first of all, you have to check my checklist. So that's kind of how I always go about it. And I think you need to sit down if you ever want to start out a company in the service business and make the checklist yourself. I think everybody has different values and everybody has different like sectors of people that want to work together, because like that checklist was way less rough when I started out than like right now, right? Like you have to check some very, very strict boxes for me to work with you, right? But like 2 3 years ago, I did not really care. I just wanted my work, and then you go show off that work to other people, and you slowly increase it in terms of like exponential growth, right? So that's how I always went about it.
Yeah, awesome. I'd pay some ETH for that checklist, but I guess as you mentioned, everyone has their own priorities, and I see your point about working with Undocs founders. Like I find that it's like, I do know a guy who's Undocs and he's based out of Iran and he's fighting the regime, so that's a good excuse to be Undocs. Like you're scared for
I
your life if you reveal yourself.
I disagree.
But
I think like I think like even for a person like that, right? Like everybody can turn their camera on for their friends.
No, for their friends, of course. Like if it's for their, I'm talking about being publicly undoxed.
Oh
Everyone should be, yeah,
yeah, no, I agree.
yeah. But I think on camera, and I know a few people. I know a few people that have very sensitive Web 2 jobs that they might not want to reveal. So there are certain reasons, but to just be the number one reason is so that someone can has a leeway to scam and then carry on with zero reputation risk. That's the number one reason I found with Undocs founders is that they don't want to put their own liability, both brand liability, legal liability, onto the project. They want to like launch something, see if the market reacts, if they raise money, if they don't, and then based on that they'll see how it goes. They don't, they're not coming in with conviction to build something that can help users at the end, at the end goal. They're coming in to max extract, which is what they want to be. So yeah, I think one of my 2026 resolutions is to, be aware of that, and it's great to, as you mentioned, you have to write in the checklist because otherwise, you might come and decide, oh, but this, but that, but money, and if you have it on a checklist, you can stay true to yourself and make sure that is that is the case. But Galileo, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a great episode, the AI episode. We're still working on the show. We're going to keep coming to you. We have a few more. We have Billions on next week, which is another AI project in the early morning time slot, 11 a.m. my time, 9 a.m. UTC, and then next Wednesday we are coming to you with. I don't think we have anything for Wednesday, but we will keep updating you. Galileo, I'll see you around on the timeline. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We'll chat soon, my friend.
Likewise, man. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye bye.